Listen up. Your grandmother probably left you a few cherished possessions, a photograph, a piece of jewelry, maybe a handwritten recipe card. But her real inheritance, the one that is truly priceless, the one that is worth more than any physical object she could have passed down, is the one our modern, convenient world has tried so hard to make us forget. I'm talking about a set of simple, powerful, hands-on skills that she knew in her bones. The skills she used to run a household, feed a family, and endure the hardest of times with grace and resilience. We have been taught to stockpile gold as the ultimate survival asset, but the brutal reality of a collapse is that you cannot eat gold, you cannot use it to mend clothing, and you cannot use it to heal the sick. The knowledge in your grandmother's hands, however, can do all of that and more. Today, we are not talking about stacking metal. We are uncovering your true inheritance, the 7 forgotten grandma skills that will be worth far more than their weight in gold when the world no longer values shiny rocks, but instead values real, tangible survival. Number 1. The crayon candle. Imagine the moment. You are in the dead of night, plunged into a total, silent darkness of a blackout that has lasted for days. You hear a strange noise outside your door, a sound that makes the hair on your arms stand up. You instinctively reach for your expensive, high-lumen tactical flashlight, your primary line of defense against the unknown. You hit the switch, and you are met with a pathetic, flickering beam for a single, terrifying second before it dies completely. Your batteries are dead. Your modern, sophisticated solution has utterly failed you. At this critical moment, your most reliable and overlooked source of light might not be in your bug-out bag or your emergency kit. It might be hiding in your child's forgotten art box. It seems impossible, even ridiculous, to consider a child's toy a serious survival tool. But today, I'm going to show you how a simple, common wax crayon becomes a brilliant 30-minute survival candle and fire starter. This is the first and most elegant hack on our list, and it feels like cheating because of its profound simplicity. We have been conditioned by a fragile system to rely on complex, battery-powered devices for light. But this is a trap that creates a dozen points of failure. The crayon, however, is a self-contained, perfectly engineered candle hiding in plain sight. The secret is in its basic anatomy, the very things that make it a crayon. The body is made of paraffin wax, which is the exact same hydrocarbon fuel used in the vast majority of candles sold today. And the paper wrapper that so many of us peel off and discard? That is a perfect, tightly wound wick, ready to be lit. You don't need a fancy holder or a special container. You simply need to stand the crayon on a non-flammable surface, light the tip of the paper with a single spark, and watch as it comes to life. And what you get is not a weak, sputtering flame. You get a steady, reliable, and surprisingly bright light that will burn consistently for up to 30 minutes per crayon. A single, cheap box of 2-4 crayons from the dollar store is a source of 12 hours of emergency light that you can hold in the palm of your hand. But it's more than just a simple candle. That long, consistent, and stable flame is a phenomenal fire starter, far superior to a quick-burning match for igniting damp tinder or stubborn firewood. It is a source of warmth for your frozen hands. And, of course, it can still be used for its original purpose, to leave a vital message on a piece of paper, to mark a trail on a wall, or to give a terrified child a priceless moment of creative distraction in a world filled with chaos. It is a multi-tool disguised as a toy. Think about it. After a collapse, every abandoned school, every daycare, and millions of homes will contain boxes of these overlooked survival tools. While the amateurs are desperately searching for rare batteries, the professional survivor will know that a source of reliable light and fire is sitting right there, waiting to be picked up. Number 2. The instant fire hack. You are cold. Your hands are numb, your fingers barely work, and a chilling rain has soaked through everything you own. Your survival in this moment depends on one thing and one thing only: making a fire, right now. You reach for your trusty lighter, but all you hear is the hollow click, click, click of an empty chamber. Your waterproof matches, you discover, were in a pocket that wasn't so waterproof after all. You desperately scrape your ferro rod, sending a beautiful shower of sparks onto your damp tinder, but nothing catches. This is the moment where desperation curdles into defeat. It is the moment most people would give up, lie down and freeze. But you won't, because you know a secret. You know how to create a guaranteed, raging fire from 2 simple, common items that aren't even considered fire starters. I'm talking about the second hack on our list, a trick so effective and reliable it feels like you are cheating reality, but it's pure, brutal science: the instant fire hack. For this, you will need just 2 things that are likely already in your home or your bug-out bag: a common 9-volt battery, and a simple pad of fine steel wool. These are your unlikely saviors. You begin by gently fluffing up the steel wool, increasing its surface area and exposing more of its thin, delicate fibers to the air. Then, in one deliberate, steady motion, you press the 2 terminals of the 9-volt battery firmly against the steel wool. There is no loud spark. There is no sound. There is only a sudden, silent, and brilliant bloom of orange light as a chain reaction of fire instantly erupts across the fibers. The steel wool begins to glow and crackle, a shower of tiny sparks racing through the metallic threads, turning the entire pad into a glowing, burning bird's nest of pure fire. This isn't a chemical reaction, it's a controlled, high-amperage short circuit. The battery unleashes its entire electrical current into the low-resistance steel fibers, causing them to heat up instantly past their combustion point and ignite. And here is its greatest secret, the one that makes it superior to almost any other method. This hack works even if the steel wool is damp, as the intense electrical heat will vaporize the moisture in a split second. The result is not a fleeting spark. It is a hot, long-lasting ember bed that you can drop directly into your tinder bundle to create a roaring flame with almost no effort. This is the power of knowing how to repurpose the simple tools of the modern world to serve the ancient laws of survival. Number 3. The Tuna can lamp. In the endless, oppressive darkness of a true grid-down collapse, you will be consumed by 2 primal hungers. The first is the gnawing hunger in your stomach, a desperate and constant need for calories and protein to keep your body moving and your mind sharp. The second is the hunger in your eyes, an equally desperate need for light to push back the fear, the paranoia, and the shadows that hide the unknown. The amateur prepper tries to solve these 2 fundamental problems separately, packing heavy cans of food and bulky finite candles or lanterns. The professional survivor, however, knows a secret. They know how to solve both of these problems, with one single unassuming item from the grocery store shelf. This is the 3rd hack on our list, and it is a true masterclass in survival efficiency: the tuna can lamp. Take a look at this simple can of tuna, specifically the kind that is packed in oil. You see a quick, protein-rich meal, but you are only seeing half of its power. You are not just looking at a can of food. You are looking at a can of food that comes with its own built-in fuel source. The science behind this is brutally simple. The oil in that, can be it olive oil, vegetable oil, or any other kind, is a hydrocarbon, just like the paraffin in candle wax or the fuel in a kerosene lamp. It is a dense source of chemical energy, and that energy can be easily converted into hours of steady, reliable light. Here's how you unlock this hidden power. You take a knife or any sharp tool and carefully puncture a small hole in the very center of the can's lid. You do not open the can completely. Then, you create a simple wick, a tightly rolled up piece of a paper towel, a small strip torn from a 100% cotton t-shirt, even a spare shoelace with the plastic tip will work in a pinch. You carefully push this wick down through the hole until it has become completely saturated with the oil, leaving just a small amount sticking out of the top. You light that wick, and you have just created a stable, reliable lamp that will burn for 2 to 3 hours, providing a gentle, ambient light that is perfect for a small, dark room. And here is the beautiful, elegant genius of this hack. When the flame finally sputters and dies because all the oil has been consumed as fuel, the tuna inside is not wasted. It is still perfectly preserved, now gently warmed and cooked by the flame, and ready to eat. Nothing is lost. You have transformed a single, simple item into hours of light and a life-sustaining meal. This is the essence of the survivor's mindset, extracting the maximum possible value from every single resource. Number 4. The improvised water filter. Your high-tech, expensive water filter, the one you paid $100 for, the one you trusted your life to, is now completely useless. Maybe it clogged with fine glacial silt, maybe it froze and cracked in the winter cold, or maybe you simply lost it in the chaos of a desperate escape. Now, you are standing in front of a murky, stagnant puddle of questionable water, and you are faced with the prepper's ultimate brutal choice: die of thirst in 3 days, or die of the horrific waterborne diseases that are swimming in that water in 3 weeks. It is in this moment of total technological failure that a piece of ancient, forgotten knowledge becomes the most valuable tool on the entire planet. This is the hack that allows you to build a powerful water filter from the ground beneath your feet, the improvised water filter. You are not creating something new. You are simply recreating the billion-year-old, gravity-fed system that the earth itself uses to purify its own water. You start with a container, a 2-liter soda bottle with the bottom cut off is perfect. You turn it upside down, and at the very bottom, over the mouth of the bottle, you place your first layer, a piece of clean cloth or a bandana to hold everything else in place. This is your foundation. Then, you add the magic ingredient: charcoal, crushed into small pieces from a cold, dead fire. This is your chemical sponge, the critical layer that will absorb many chemical impurities and dramatically improve the foul taste and smell of the stagnant water. On top of the charcoal, you add a thick layer of fine sand. This is your primary physical filter, the fine comb that will trap the silt, the mud, and all the smaller particulates. Finally, on top of the sand, you add a layer of small gravel, followed by larger pebbles. This is your brute force pre-filter, catching the leaves, the twigs, and the larger debris from the start. Now, you pour your dirty water in the top, and let the simple, reliable power of gravity do the work, allowing visually clean water to drip slowly from the bottom. But here is the final, unbreakable rule that separates the living from the dead, and you must burn this into your mind. This water is not yet safe to drink. This improvised filter brilliantly removes the visible filth, but it cannot remove the microscopic killers, the viruses, and the bacteria. You must still boil this water, or treat it chemically with bleach or iodine, before it is truly and completely safe. This hack is not a replacement for that final, life-saving step. It is the critical first step that makes clean water possible when all your modern gear has failed. Number 5. The solar water hack. You are out of water. Your canteen is empty. The sun is beating down on you, and a desperate, agonizing thirst has begun to cloud your judgment. In front of you is a murky, stagnant puddle, teeming with an invisible army of bacteria and disease that you know will kill you in a matter of days. Or perhaps you are stranded on a coastline, surrounded by an entire ocean of undrinkable, life-destroying salt water. You are faced with the ultimate survival paradox: to die of thirst, or to die from the poison you would drink to quench it. It seems like a hopeless, unwinnable scenario, but it is not. Because there is a way to command the sun itself, your greatest enemy in this moment, to pull pure, life-saving, distilled water directly from the poisoned earth. This is the hack that feels like a miracle, but it is pure, brilliant science. The solar water hack, also known as a solar still. It is a life-giving machine that you build from almost nothing. You begin by digging a hole in the ground, about 3 feet wide and 2 feet deep. If there is any green vegetation nearby, leaves, grass, even cactus, you throw it into the bottom of the hole. This will dramatically increase the amount of moisture you can collect. In the very center of the hole, you place your collection container, a cup, a can, anything that can hold the water you are about to create. Then, you cover the entire hole with a sheet of plastic, like a simple painter's tarp, anchoring down all the edges with rocks or dirt to create an airtight seal. Finally, you place one single small pebble in the very center of the plastic sheet, directly over your container, creating a low point in the clear plastic. And then, you let the laws of physics do the work. The sun's powerful rays pass through the plastic, heating the ground and the vegetation inside the hole like a miniature greenhouse. The moisture trapped in the earth and plants turns into vapor. This water vapor rises, but it is trapped by the plastic sheet. As the vapor hits the cooler surface of the plastic, it condenses back into liquid droplets of absolutely pure, clean water. The weight of the pebble funnels all of those tiny droplets to the center, where they drip, drip, drip down into your collection cup. This is the magic of distillation. The water you collect is not just filtered, it is chemically purified. The process leaves behind all the salt, all the chemicals, all the dirt, all the bacteria, and all the viruses. It is some of the cleanest, safest water you can possibly drink. The process is slow, but it is steady, and it is a testament to a fundamental truth. The amateur survivor sees a dirty puddle and despairs. The professional survivor sees a source of raw material, because they understand that survival is not about finding resources. It's about knowing the laws of nature, and using that knowledge to create exactly what you need. Number 6. Empty food cans and boxes. Imagine you are 3 weeks into a total collapse. By being smart, you have successfully fed your family every day from your deep pantry stockpile. But now, a new problem is growing in the corner of your camp: a pile of empty food cans and discarded cardboard boxes. The amateur prepper sees this as a pile of trash, a sanitation problem to be buried or burned away. The professional survivor, however, sees something completely different. They do not see garbage, they see a gold mine. They see a stack of valuable raw materials, the fundamental building blocks for the next, more difficult stage of their long-term survival. In the brutal new world, you must burn this one law into your mind. There is no such thing as garbage. Every single object must be analyzed for its secondary, hidden purpose. The person who sees an empty can as trash is still mentally trapped in the disposable, consumerist mindset of the old world, a soft mindset that will ultimately get them killed. The true survivor sees an empty steel can for what it truly is, a perfectly formed, food-safe, fire-resistant, and incredibly versatile metal container. After you have eaten the food, the can itself is a gift. With a few simple cuts using a knife or a tool, that large coffee can become a highly efficient hobo stove, capable of cooking an entire meal with just a handful of twigs and dry leaves. Punch a few holes in the side of a smaller can, and it becomes a windproof candle lantern, protecting your precious flame from being extinguished by a sudden gust of wind. A clean, empty can is a perfect pot for boiling and purifying water, one you can place directly in the coals of a fire without a second thought. Strung together on a thin wire around your camp, a line of cans becomes a crude but brutally effective early warning alarm system for your perimeter. The lid can be cut and bent into a fishing lure, the can itself can be used to create a small game trap, a container for storing foraged berries, or a simple shovel for digging a latrine. And the cardboard boxes that the cans came in? That is not waste. That is your insulation and your fire starter. A large piece of flattened cardboard placed under your sleeping bag creates a critical thermal barrier between your body and the cold, hard ground, preventing life-threatening heat loss while you sleep. A small strip of the corrugated paper inside is one of the best fire tinders you can possibly find. The professional survivor doesn't have a trash pile. They have a workshop. They understand that the first age of collapse will be about what you have stored, but the second, longer age of survival will be about what you can create from the ruins. And the ruins of your own pantry are the very first place to start. Number 7. Making soap. In the first year after a total societal collapse, what do you think the number one killer will be? It will not be bullets. It will not be starvation. History tells us, again and again, with brutal clarity, that the greatest and most relentless killer is an invisible one: infection. Simple, preventable sicknesses, born from the filth and the decay of a world without sanitation, will sweep through the unprepared population like a plague. You think you're ready for this because you've stockpiled a few dozen bars of soap in your basement, but you have not bought a permanent solution. You have only bought yourself a little bit of time. You have a finite, dwindling shield against an infinite and ever-present enemy. The professional survivor knows that in a true long-term crisis, you cannot rely on a stockpile that gets smaller every single day. You must own the means of production. I'm talking about the ancient, powerful, and almost forgotten skill of making soap. This is not a hobby. This is not a quaint, old-fashioned craft. This is a life-saving act of practical alchemy, the ability to create the single most important medical and hygiene supply from two simple, fundamental ingredients: rendered animal fat and lye. Think about the raw power of this process. The fat can be rendered from a successful hunt, from livestock, or even from the bacon grease you save after a meal. It is a common waste product that you can chemically transform into a potent weapon against disease. Lye, or sodium hydroxide, is a simple, caustic chemical that you can stockpile in bulk, and it will last for decades. When you combine these two ingredients under the right heat and conditions, a chemical reaction called saponification occurs, creating a hard, long-lasting, and effective bar of soap that will kill the germs that would otherwise kill your family. This one skill turns your camp into a sanctuary of hygiene. It means you can properly wash your hands, your clothes, your dishes, and your medical instruments, crushing the invisible threats before they can ever take root. And in the new economy of the collapse, a person who can consistently and reliably produce soap holds immense power and influence. You are not just keeping your own family healthy, you are creating one of the most valuable, in-demand barter items in existence. People will trade ammunition, they will trade food, and they will trade their labor for the simple, life-saving luxury of being clean. The amateur stockpiles a product that runs out. The professional masters the process that lasts forever: making your own soap, mending your own clothes, preserving your own food. These are not just nostalgic skills from a bygone era. They are a quiet revolution. They are a powerful declaration of independence. Independence from a fragile power grid that can die in an instant. independence from a global supply chain that is already breaking apart at the seams, and independence from the modern mindset that has taught us to be helpless, dependent consumers instead of strong, capable producers. This is the knowledge our great-grandparents considered to be simple, basic, common sense. For us today, in this fragile world, it has become a revolutionary act of true self-reliance. The modern world wants you to forget this power. It wants you to be dependent, scared, and easy to control. Here, on this channel, we choose a different path. We choose to remember, if you believe that true security is found in your own two hands and in your mind, not in a product you can buy from a store, then you belong here with us. Hit that subscribe button and activate all notifications right now. This is more than a YouTube channel. It is a digital library dedicated to the lost arts of survival. We are not just showing you what to do, we are reawakening the powerful, resilient spirit of our ancestors, one forgotten skill at a time. In our next video, we will reveal an ancient, forgotten method of food preservation that requires no canning, no freezing, and no dehydration. It is a secret you simply cannot afford to miss. Now, go down to the comments and answer this. What is the one forgotten skill from your family's history that you believe is a critical survival secret? Share that wisdom. Stop buying your prep. Start becoming your prep.